So it seems like I've lost my last video. I'm still trying to get it back, but it doesn't look good. But yeah, I actually started putting the figure together again. I started with the feet. And I started painting it. Let's put it the right way up. So basically I did the legs and I started with the gunmetal grey. I still need to do the toe bit so you can actually see the color differences. And it's not battle damage yet, which I will do later on before I clear coat everything. And I also started mounting the wheels. As you can see, I used a screw for that because it's better than having a pin in there, and it keeps everything more solid. Yeah, it's getting there. I'll try to show you how it looks with the brake caliper painted as well, and as you can see it still moves. Barely, because it's quite tight in there. But yeah, it's getting there. Maybe this needs to be cut out a bit because I'm fiddling and I shouldn't fiddle on camera. Those are the legs coming together. I still need to finish up the top parts. And the same goes for the hands. I did a lot of paint on them already. Still need to add some, especially here. It needs some more paint, and the hands need the lighter color gray. I'm still working on this. I noticed that on the Prime 1 statue, I'll show you a pic in the top corner somewhere. It's yellow, so I need to paint that as well. I'll do that by a brush. And last but not least, the head is like fully done. I hope you can get it focused. I added a darker blue around the eyes, and I popped a little color in there with a dash of white, which turned blue. And as well, the battle mask is there as well, so Bumblebee is ready for some action. Still, this needs a little bit of paint to go with it, and I still might have to do something about the top of the head because I'm not happy at the moment at how it turns out, but I can do that later. Well, these are done as well. These will get some paint on them and to make them the battle damage a little bit better, but that will be later on. I also started painting the corners here and here. These pieces are needed for the alt mode, but giving them some dark paint actually makes them look better when you match them up, which I will do later on because I'm still working on the legs. I added some gold and some copper colors will come later. So yeah, it's time to get cracking again. So first of all, I'm going to see if the paint quite clearly here, so I can add a little more of the white. On this bit it's okay if the paint fades a little from the edges because that's going to be battle damage anyway. So we put these onto the side for a moment. And we need to get back on focusing on the legs again. As you noticed before, I opened them up because I'm painting them at the moment, and I added a little bit of the reddish bronze color. This one, metallic orange, in there, and I'm going to use this for all the springs to make them look a little better. I noticed that I actually find this hinge to be quite visible, and I think it looks better if it's a little bit grayer, so it actually matches the rest of the car. And we need some more gold and copper in there, so I'm going to be doing that as well before turning over to the chassis bit later on, which is hidden in the car. And the car still needs to get this fixed. And I tried it with a brush, but as you can see it's not really working out that well, so I might need to sand it down a bit more and get everything to match up. So I'll do that later on. But it's yeah, it's starting to look like a Camaro again. Oh, and I attached the wheels already. So coming to this, I'm going to use the light gunmetal. And I might have to replace the camera a bit so I can actually show you what I'm doing. It will be on this bit here that we'll have to do a little bit of lighter color. And the same goes on the other side as well. and a little goes on the feet as well. You notice I missed a little bit here on the arm. And then it's up to the upper legs, which needs some paint as well. So I'm going to be putting some paint on there as well. Since this is a small piece and there's going to be a lot of paint on it, I just keep it for now on the stick. It actually helps me make sure I paint what needs to be painted and I don't paint what doesn't need to be painted. So you can see the difference between the two parts, painted and unpainted. A lot of the detail you put on here is actually something you might see when you display your figure, but a lot of people won't see. And my advice to them is, to everyone who is actually painting a figure, make sure you enjoy the figure and know what you've done, because it's always nice to show a figure off and tell people what you did to them, things they might have not seen in the first place, but then once you tell them, they won't be able to not notice it, and that's always a fun thing. Time to clean the brush. When I'm cleaning brushes, just make sure you got a jar with something that takes away the paint, and just make sure you got a nice piece of paper to clean the brush, and then you're good to go for the next round. It's a little thing to do, but it saves so much time and money on brushes if you do it regularly. Now, as you noticed before, I actually painted these white before. I still need a little bit more, I think. I just noticed that this wasn't completely dry yet, so needs to be a little bit more careful. And I did this one yesterday as well. And I noticed that it wasn't completely covered yet. So I just realized I might as well do the license plate, because the model actually has a license plate there, if you look carefully. But the top bit is never fully cured. So I'll just add a little bit of white over there as well. I'm going for copper, same as Tamiya paint. However, this is a different kind of line, but they do have more colors, and I'm looking into seeing if I can make more out of it. But I do love the color. So I'm seeing if I can replace the paints I have already with this one. However, the acrylic one, the smaller jars, actually work a little bit nicer than this one. I think the other ones are alcohol based and this one is water based, but yeah, it looks so much better. And they bring out the detail quite well as well. So. People don't really know, but there's a lot of copper going on in Bumblebee. You don't really see it because it's always a little bit blurry because of the way it was put in there, because it's a lot of CGI. But if you look at the Prime 1 statue, you can actually see all the copper tones and gold and several colors of metalish colors. You see that, which make the figure pop that much more, like that much more, which makes it look a little bit better even. And at the moment, in case you're not hearing properly, I'm cleaning the brush once more. So if you're looking at this closely, there we go. You can actually see there's some wires in there, which needs some paint as well. So I'm going to use some red. there's some wires in here as well. And I just noticed I put my finger on there and it actually made it look worse, so darn it. But the wires are on the other side. And I've noticed that I just had the wires, but this little bit needs to be red as well. Bumblebee actually has 2 of these. And if they were on a car, I would say that they're part of the oil change system, but I have no idea what this guy has on his arms and why he has 4 of them, because a car just has 1. But anyway, it needs to be red, so I'll just add some paint there. And here's the other bit of the wires, I think. In case you're doubting, always be sure to check stuff. And yeah, it looks like that's the wires. So in order to create some continuity, I'll just add some red here as well. I can always paint over it if it doesn't match. So I've just been looking at the picture of the Dark of the Moon Bumblebee once more, and I noticed that this actually needs to be a copper color. And since I'm actually liking to give just a little bit of more pop, I'm going to add the metallic orange. One bit is that actually you won't see that much of it once it's on Bumblebee, because it actually is one of those things that actually falls out of sight the moment you put things together. Let's see, this is the inner leg, so on the inner leg there's this bit as well that needs to have the copper. And while we're at it, I'll just put the inside of the spring in the same color, so I can match it with the other bits and pieces later on. So looking at this bit, which is this crotch piece, I actually think that the bits on top should get a little bit more color. And looking at the picture, there's some gold there, not exactly on the same bit, but I think it will look good enough. Because blue and gold always pop really nice together. There you go. And there's just some gold accents I want to do on the leg as well. There's some cogs in there as well, which I always like to do a little bit of gold in there to make it just a little bit more interesting to look at. So I don't know if you can see this, but on the arm there's also this little bit of metal right here. It has like these holes in them, and I'll just add some black to them to give them more depth. Same goes on the other side. And you just wipe the paint immediately off. With a piece of cloth to give more depth. And at the moment I noticed that the white actually turned out quite okay. It's a bit blotchy, but that's actually going to add to the paint effect. So for now I'm just going to get a clean brush and I'll just start putting the yellow paint over it to get it to match the rest of the old mode. Just going to need like 2 coats to get looking better. I just noticed there's a little bit of black on here, so I'll just remove it carefully. So I took out the silver paint, and we're going to add some detail to these ribs right here. What I'm doing now is just add a little bit to the top of the hands to give some metallic detail. And it's okay to be a little bit scratchy here, because it actually makes it look a little bit more metallic. Same goes with the thumb from Bumblebee, which actually ironically is just a slightly different shade than the rest of his hands, from what I've seen. The different colors is not like it's going to be super obvious, but it's actually helping convince people that Bumblebee is made of metal instead of plastic. So we're getting down to the details already a little bit further on, and we can start adding paint blemishes and other bits of metal scraping against each other. And then we can do the heel spurs, because I saved them for last. I have something to hold on to when I'm painting the figure. And I just noticed, especially with this hand, there's some gunmetal I need to add here as well. And it's the same on this one, so I need to do that as well. Especially on the inside of the arm. So once again to the gunmetal. And you're going to be doing this a lot. You're going to be noticing stuff you forgot about before. Because those kind of things always have a tendency to pop up on the moment you almost forgot about them. And of course I just ruined the entire with paint over there because I'm not paying attention. Which is silly, but still fixable. I almost forgot this part, but I really like to do it as well. So as you see, we're now getting close to getting ready to put them together again. I just need to add some color to those bits over there. And then I need to put my attention back to the yellow, which I just ruined with my hands. So there's still some detail on this side that needs to be figured out. It's his legs, and then there's some gold that needs to go in there. So now it's time to make sure he's painted. Everything's dry, and then I can put him together, at least the lower bit, so I can see if everything is the way it should be. And by saying that, I mean that it's looking like every bit on this side matches the bits on this side, so I can actually make him look coherent. So that will be the next video. Thank you for watching.